Can you imagine living in a place where your blood type can determine your love match, or where people get plastic surgery as a high school graduation gift? This is the dark side of South Korea. Located in East Asia, South Korea occupies the center of Northeast Asia and neighbors China, Russia, Japan, and North Korea. The democratic country's economy has grown dramatically in the last few decades, and it now has the 13th biggest GDP nominal in the world. It also has improved in many other sectors, such as medicine and culture. But all these advancements don't come without a cost, and there lies a less glamorous side beneath their shiny exterior. People may know South Korea as a place filled with modern buildings and beautiful people. The same cannot be said about the country's red light district areas. Most of their red light districts are run down and gentrified after the country's move to deem the oldest professional world prohibited by law in 2004. Still, several areas remain standing. One notable area is found in Itaewon. The small alley is jam-packed with bars and opaque doors and dark-tinted windows. Another area is Yeongju-gol, a city just an hour away from Seoul. The city itself has shut down a number of establishments due to the 2004 law, and hundreds of workers are now rendered jobless. Some ladies have accepted the assistance offered by the government, but more are reluctant to leave. It seems that they may have no more choice in the near future, as the government is expected to finish their cleanup by 2025. One issue in South Korea that has affected many women is the issue of hidden cameras, or molka. According to the documentary Open Shutters, you can find hidden cameras in public restrooms, hotels, and changing rooms that are targeting people. Alarmingly, some of these recordings are shared on certain online platforms for users to subscribe to. In one notable case, an individual named Choi discovered she was being recorded without her knowledge through her apartment window, only when the police visited her home. In another instance, approximately 1,600 hotel guests were recorded without consent in their accommodations, with real-time streaming made available for subscribers. These devices are often concealed in everyday items like digital TV boxes, wall outlets, and hair dryer holders. So, if you're planning on visiting South Korea, don't forget to check every inch of your accommodation. South Korea may seem like a modern country that embraces cultural differences, so it might be surprising that some of them still discriminate against immigrants or people from other countries. For example, tourists and immigrants are often being denied entry to clubs due to their skin color or nationality. A 2020 survey by Segye Ilbo also found that around 70% of foreign nationals have experienced discrimination in the country. It can be in the form of hostile eye contact, verbal abuse, or wage discrimination. Usually, discrimination occurs more for people with developing country origin. Foreigners working in Korea have asked for the government to create a law that protects them from racial discrimination so that society can finally become an open community for immigrants. Are you interested in finding love in South Korea? Then you're in for a ride, because getting a suitable match in the country doesn't come easy. The people of South Korea used many ways to check compatibility between them and their partners. One of the most common ways to predict compatibility is your blood type. Koreans believe that blood types are very closely related to a person's personality. For example, type A are usually diligent and friendly, but very sensitive. Type B are outgoing and passionate, but can be arrogant. Type O are leaders with good communication skills, while type AB are generally considered geniuses. Another tool to determine a love match is face reading. Koreans considered each part of your face to represent your life by age. The area between the forehead and eyebrow is believed to be about your life between ages 15 to 30. The area between the eyes and nose represents ages 30 to 50. And the area between the nose represents your later life. People would be more inclined to choose you if they consider your face to look lucky with a good future. Lastly, many Koreans are now obsessed with MBTI personality types. MBTI is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator personality test that categorizes personalities into 16 different types. It's common for young Koreans to ask you your MBTI type in the first meeting because it's an easy way to connect and determine whether you'll be a good match. Some even consider it a mandatory pre-test you should take before going on a date with someone. The test has a weakness, and you might even get different results according to your mood. But it seems that MBTI still acts as a great social lubricant for young Koreans to connect and relate with each other. From the outside, it might seem that K-pop idols have it all, but the truth is much darker than that. The Hallyu or K-wave is often used as an example where a country successfully introduces its culture to the outside world. K-pop artists are now some of the most popular entertainers in the world, but internally, these artists have gone through mistreatment, strict contracts, grueling training years, no dating clauses, and sexualization by their companies or agencies. Before these singers could go on and become superstars, they would generally go through a period as trainees. This period can be very strict, where they would go through 5 a.m. dance training and hours of practice after school. Besides the long hours, they also have to look after themselves by adopting a calorie deficit diet. Some would also have to go through plastic surgery to achieve the level of beauty standards the agency wanted. Dating's also banned for artists and trainees by most companies. Even if their company doesn't ban dating, K-pop fans can be unusually cruel to dating news of their idols. A member of the aespa group, Karina, had fans sending her protest trucks and vicious comments online because she admitted to having a relationship with actor Lee Jae-wook. Another example is the artist Lee Sang-ji, who discovered that his agency had withheld profits from his songs for over 20 years, so he had to sue the company to gain back all his earnings. Believe it or not, Netflix's Squid Game is based on true stories in South Korea. Although we see the country as a modern metropolis, some of the country's population is facing mounting household debts due to consumerism and rising prices. According to a survey, 1 in 5 young adults in Korea are suffering huge debts, with a debt-to-income ratio being 300%. That means they owe 3 times as much as they earn in a year. The largest contributors to this rise are mortgages and house rental loans, or jeonse, forcing young people to take out hefty amounts of money to have a place to live. The country is planning to tackle the issue by offering write-offs for younger Koreans through debt relief programs and creating stimulus packages for its people. If you go around South Korea's Gangnam district, you'll be bombarded with advertisements for plastic surgery everywhere you look. They'll have before and after pictures of women telling you that you can be pretty too. South Korea is the #1 country for plastic surgery, with the highest number of surgeries per population. It's said that about 1 in 4 Koreans get plastic surgery annually. It's so normalized that eyelid surgery is one of the most popular graduation gifts that parents let their children have so they can start fresh and look better when they go on to their university years. Some of the most common procedures include rhinoplasty, liposuction, and eyelid surgery. The country even popularized the term lunch surgeries, a quick series of procedures people can get when they're on their lunch break, such as filler or Botox treatments. This need for plastic surgery comes from the Korean values that uphold beauty as one of their markers for success. Even companies judge you by your appearance before they offer you a job. Although some are worried about the harm these beauty standards can do to young people, others are embracing the freedom of choice they have to become the best version of themselves. Another beauty obsession among South Koreans is skin whiteness. Many Koreans believe that having pale, fair skin is the only way to look beautiful. This belief is rooted in the historical fact that darker skin is associated with being of a lower class as they work more hours under the sun. That's why sometimes you can see Koreans walking around in long-sleeved shirts even in sweltering heat. They also use colorful umbrellas to shade themselves from the sun with layers of SPF. There's even a skin lightening procedure where a substance called glutathione is injected to impede the process of pigmentation. Where the procedure may cause harmful effects such as asthma and zinc deficiency, it seems that the craze is not dying down anytime soon. When you talk to a South Korean and they tell you your age, you should take into account their unique age system, because most Koreans are generally 1 year older than the rest of the world. The Korean age system can baffle most people because they have 3 separate calculation methods. Under their old Korean age system, babies are counted as 1 year old by the time they're born. Every 1 January, a year is automatically added into people's age as well, even if your birthday is on December 31st. Just for an example of how weird this calculation is, babies that are born on New Year's Eve become 2 years old the next day. Some people also use the mixed counting system, which is a mix of international birthday and Korean age systems. So babies are born at 0 years, but just like the Korean age system, 1 year is added every January 1st. That means at any given time, a person can be 3 different ages at the same time. According to the international system, mixed system, and Korean age system. Yeah, wrap your head around that. People wearing masks are a common sight when you're in South Korea. But they're not just trying to go incognito, it's because of their terrible air pollution in the country. The condition is so bad that the Air Quality Life Index stated Koreans might lose up to 1.4 years of their lives due to air quality. Lots of young Korean children are now suffering from respiratory problems. Some require steroids or other heavy drugs to help relieve the issues. Doctors have resorted to recommending parents to keep their children inside the house except for school or other mandatory activities. What makes matters worse, the fine dust also contains carcinogens. Some have blamed the neighboring country, China, but domestic coal plants are also to blame. According to the Korean Federation for Environmental Movements, the government has planned to reduce the amount of coal plants and adopt renewable energy alternatives to take care of the issue once and for all. Have you ever been to museums where their focus is on your bowel movements? South Korea is known for its cultural highlights and poo-poo land, and Mr. Toilet House museums are some of their weirdest attractions. Poo-poo land is Korea's first poop theme park, containing many rides related to, well, poop. The park has various photo zones, a digestive maze, and even a poo party place. Haewoojae, or Mr. Toilet House, is the world's only toilet-shaped museum. The unique place has an exhibition hall, a library, and experience center. Throughout the museum, you'll learn more about the digestive process in the human body, celebrating our bowel movement. Leave it to the Koreans to make something off-putting become interesting. If you look at most Korean cities, you might never think that the country is still in a long-standing Cold War with the North. But the eerie feeling will grow once you visit the hidden village meters away from North Korea, located in the DMZ, or Demilitarized Zone. Ironically, DMZ is one of the most militarized places on Earth, encircled with barbed wire and carpeted in mines. The zone was created in 1953 so that the two armies are kept apart and a stable period can commence. On the South Korean side, the two villages remain in the DMZ, Freedom Village and Peace Village. The two villages were a symbol of hope, where people who long for the day that the two sides finally unify stay. Sadly, both are now dwindling in numbers. The old die and the young leave, seeking better hopes at the capital or other cities. There are no businesses, shops, medical facilities, or restaurants. The bare lands represent the citizens' hope of unification, something that's more of a far distant memory rather than reality. South Korea's advancements in many sectors owe many of its achievements to its robust education system. That's right, the country is so obsessed with education that they're willing to pay mentally and monetarily for it. If you walk around the streets of Seoul, you'll find cram schools everywhere, with tutors earning up to millions teaching kids the tips and tricks to ace a test. Some students study for more than 14 hours in a day, from their school to tuition lessons. The country even arranges to ground all planes during test days each semester, just so the students can focus on their exams. For most Koreans, education and grades are a matter of life, something that determines their future, but it also has become a source of stress, depression, and mental issues. It's time the country comes up with a middle ground where they can encourage students to be the best without disregarding their well-being. When you watch Korean dramas, you expect most people to live a lavish life inside beautiful apartments. That's why you might be in for a shock when you visit the country, because some people can't afford rent and they're stuck renting small rooms called Goian. These rooms are barely over 6 meters square and come with a shared bathroom. Goians were previously used by students or people who are preparing to study for civil service job tests, but now they're increasingly becoming permanent homes for people who can't afford to live anywhere else. These people, who identify themselves as dirt spoons, are born to low-income families and have given up on their social mobility. Dirt spoons are the direct opposite of the gold spoon, people who are well off in life due to their family's successes, marking South Korea's alarming inequality. Goian is not a very healthy place to live in, with almost no access to natural light, poor air circulation, lack of storage, and poor soundproofing. Although it can be a solution for a short time, living there for an extended amount of time can lead to health issues and depression. Are you thinking of buying a gift for your Korean friend? Then you should listen carefully before deciding. Koreans have unique beliefs when it comes to gifts. If you hand them over something that goes against it, they might think you're breaking up with them, or worse, wishing they were dead. Even if your friend is a chef or a cook, giving them knives, scissors, or other sharp objects is a no-go. That's because it symbolizes cutting off a relationship between two people. Another one you should steer clear from is a pair of shoes. This rule is especially true for lovers. Giving them new shoes that are comfortable and new might mean you want them to run far away from you. So, if you give your significant other a pair of shoes, they'll leave you in the near future. There's no denying that South Korea is an impressive country with achievements in technology, culture, and economic growth. On the other hand, it's also crucial to acknowledge the darker side behind these advancements. By confronting these issues, the country can work toward a society that thrives on the well-being of all its people.